Governor Bysiewicz, good to see you here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Welcome to my dining room, my office in these times.
We're doing all of our interviews remotely to keep things safe and social distancing and following those guidelines. We have not seen you in the same room as the governor in quite some time. Is that intentional to keep you two in different areas?
You know, thank you for asking, because I've had people ask, well, Susan, why don't I see you standing next to the governor when he does his briefings? And you don't see me because more than a month ago, our public safety commissioner, James Ravella, asked me not to be in the same location as the governor, because if both of us were sick, that would be a big problem. And I also have to say that I cringe when I see the president standing just a few inches away from the vice president, Mike Pence. So not a good social distancing picture. And the governor and I are trying to model good behavior. So we're both working hard for the people of Connecticut, just not in the same place.
Well, that's good to hear. So May 20th is the date the governor has tentatively set for reopening our economy. What will that day look like?
You know, I think the governor has been very thoughtful in his approach and very collaborative. He's worked very closely with the 6 other states around us. So he'll be working with governors in our region. And I think particularly New York is very important, and Rhode Island and Massachusetts, because they're at our borders. Also, the governor's been very focused on medical science and what is the best data out there. And he's collaborating also with doctors and business leaders to determine how to keep our residents in Connecticut safe. That's our top priority.
It used to be, before coronavirus hit, that you'd go to a restaurant and sometimes there'd be a couple next to you just a few feet away. Do you foresee that when this all reopens, the economy reopens, that perhaps restaurants will look vastly different, that the tables might be spread apart a little bit farther away, and perhaps in gyms we want to have treadmills right on top of each other, schools, desks, not one student next to another?
I think a lot of things have changed. I think our gyms are going to look different. Our restaurants are going to look different, and we're all figuring it out as we go along. And I'm doing my best to try to support our local Main Street businesses. I live in Middletown, to make sure that they survive when we come out the other end of this.
I want to shift gears and talk about a project that you are basically the point person on, and that is the census taking in our state in the year 2020. And we have all received these, well, most people should have received these forms at home. Tell us about them.
So we crossed a very important milestone this week. This week, 51% of Connecticut's households have responded to our United States Census. We are a leader in the New England region. We're ahead of all the states around us in the Northeast. So we're very proud of that. That said, even though we're ahead of the national average, we still have to get 49% of the households in our state to respond. And let's face it, it's a challenge during this COVID-19 epidemic. However, it's more important than ever, because our disaster relief, and we are a disaster state, is key to that. And a lot of the social programs people are relying on right now, like food assistance, like Medicare and Medicaid, are keyed to how many people we have in our state. So there couldn't be a more critical time, Dennis, for people to fill it.
What are the reasons people are, giving for not filling it out?
Some homes don't have internet access. So the 51% number that I gave you, almost all of those folks have filled it out on the internet. Maybe 1% of those filled it out with an 800 number. Now, though, between April 8th and April 30th, people will be receiving the paper forms in the mail if they have not filled out their form online or by phone. So our message now, Dennis, is if you get a paper census form in the mail, please, please, please fill it out. And if you're seeing this and you haven't filled it out, you can fill it out online by going to 2020census.gov.
The last couple of censuses that we've taken here in Connecticut have not been kind to our state. We used to have 6 congressional seats not all that long ago. Now we are down to 5. The shrinking population has been the subject of many columns and news stories. Is there any way to sort of gauge what we're expecting next time? Do you expect Connecticut's population to shrink again?
I don't. We have 3.5 million people in our state. I do not expect this decade to lose a Congress seat, but we want to have a strong voice in Washington, and the Capitol is behind your shoulder, and reapportionment is happening next year, both in Hartford and in Washington, D.C. So our voice, our political voice is important, but also the $11 billion plus our state will receive in federal funding.
Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz, we thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here in person when, of course, it is safe to do so.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Stay safe and stay healthy. When we come back, what is it like to be a nurse during the coronavirus crisis? And later, the Holocaust, 75 years ago. We welcome you to watch past editions of Face the State right now on our app or on our YouTube channel.